Hello, everyone. Bilal Malas here, head of client success at Luck Sales Consulting. I'm joined today with Scott, who's an investment advisor and financial planner at Etzel Financial Resources. And Scott joined our SLS framework and obviously has a virtual sales process in which he's able to meet ideal prospects. Today, we're going to talk about that journey and how it all went. More specifically, Scott specializes in helping medical professionals, nurses, travel nurses. Right now is even more the specialty. And today we're going to talk about the process, how currently he's meeting ideal prospects every single week. But Scott, before we dive deeper into all of that, if you could just give us a quick introduction. So your name, where you're from, and what you specialize in, and who you help.
So I'm Scott Etzel with Etzel Financial Resources, and we're in the Clear Lake, Iowa, which is basically about two hours north of Des Moines, Iowa. And what we do is we're investment advisors and financial planners, and we do a lot of financial plans for our clients.
Fantastic. And before joining our SLS framework, you're relying on those referrals, those COIs, those traditional ways of generating business. In your case, you've been in the industry for quite some time now. Now, the thing is, you were looking to solve is the lack of a marketing structure or a sales process. And can you tell us a little bit about the frustrations you had there before working with us and what you were looking to solve?
So I haven't really set up any formal marketing plan, simply because I kept putting it off. Really get busy doing so many different things, and you don't know which products out there are going to work, which ones aren't going to work, where to put how much money to put into a marketing plan. And there's a lot of different ways you can go. And before I started utilizing the SLS framework mastermind, I was really talking to about a half dozen other types of programs. Because I wanted to, I was trying to get a feel for it all. But I really fell in love with the mastermind program, the SLS framework, because how automated it was. I didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel all the time. It was compliant, and so everything just looked good to me.
And then that's exactly what we can talk about now. So now we have that sales process that's automated. We've defined the niche, which for you was, your back. What's interesting is, believe, correct me if I'm wrong, your spouse is in the nursing space as well, unless I'm wrong. Correct me. Okay, awesome. So tell us more about that. How did it? So we picked the niche. We did some research. Okay, tell us more about that.
So I was in the process of working through buying actually another business, another gentleman's book of business, and he was specializing in CRNAs. And we were just having many conversations about niche marketing when I got a hold of this program, and it just fell into what I was already looking to try to do, and niche out something. So we were looking at nurses. My wife's been a nurse for 38 years, and I was already buying a book of business that had a number of CRNAs that were CRNAs in his book of business. So it just makes sense to kind of focus a little bit more on the medical professionals and that sort of thing. In particular, nurses. So going through the process of the SLS framework mastermind, and where we went through and interviewed a number of different nurses and that sort of thing, I was kind of able to hone in on some of their more painful areas and then utilize that in my messaging. So it's actually worked out pretty good. And now I've used my wife, who's been a nurse for 38 years, to help me to improve my messaging, to maybe get a little bit more rapport in my opening calls and my 15-minute discovery calls. And that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest step for us was defining the niche, before working with us. Obviously, online and specifically, you were positioned as a generalist. We didn't have any direction. And then we're able to dial it down to talking to nurses. And that's extremely powerful because you have that leverage right now. You're able to build that pipeline of only nurses, nurse practitioners, CRNAs, travel nurses who all have their own problems, but for the most part are very similar. And you're constantly having these meetings every single week. But I think for you, the the biggest win for you was the fact that, you have that dedicated success manager that's, following up with you. And I don't know how busy you are and how sometimes you may forget about some things. And we're here to kind of keep up with you as well, make sure everything's running. Can you tell us more about how that experience went with your dedicated success manager?
So just like I'm sure every advisor out there has things they're doing. And so, you might step into something with good intentions that you plan to work on something real hard and really accomplish something with it. And then all of a sudden you get pulled away from this or for that, for this or that. And then for me, I was actually being pulled in a lot of different directions over this last 6 months because we moved to a new city, we moved into a new home, and these things were very distracting to me, marketing. But because I had that person calling me, I knew that that call was coming in. It kind of forced me to do my work, and it really became one of the biggest parts of the program for me, is because I that call, I'm expecting it. We always assign ourselves something else to work on for the next call. And because I know that's assigned and we're going to have to talk about that, I jump in and make sure I get my marketing done. So it's been really a big, useful, for me, it's one of the most important parts of the program.
Like an accountability partner. And
yes,
I'm happy.
Accountability, right?
I'm happy to hear that you've gotten value from that. And what would you say to another investment advisor, financial planner who is on the independent side, who's looking to invest into their practice, that, are on the edge of potentially joining the SLS framework? Like, what would you say to them, about investing into themselves and in their practice?
So what you're actually purchasing is something you're going to use for the rest of your career. You're purchasing education. You're purchasing the money is really not so it's not paid to the SLS framework mastermind, and you don't get anything for it. You're getting a marketing tool that you can use the rest of your career, and you can't unlearn what they're teaching you. So once you got it in place, I mean, that the ROI on that is going to be huge over the years. So I would just encourage them to take the jump and jump into it.
Thank you very much for your time today, Scott. I appreciate your kind words, and I'm looking forward to your ongoing success as well.
You're welcome. Good to talk to you again, Bilal.